Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Investor Podcast. I'm so happy to be here with you, as always. We've got some interesting stuff to talk about today that I'm excited to share with you. This is always how you can step into your wealth as a conscious creator, as a function of who you are, and do it in an effortless way. And my goal when you come here is that you're going to take something away from this, even if it's just one thing that is going to help you move forward in life. And so all you have to do is be open to receive, to listen, and to allow this to flow through you. And by the way, thank you for that, because it's an honor, not because I have all the answers. It's an honor because what you're doing is you're allowing us to co-create together. The energy of whatever you are wanting to call through, or the energy that you're holding, is affecting my energy too. And without you, then I wouldn't be saying this, and you wouldn't be going out and doing hopefully beautiful things in the world with whatever you build upon this. I always say to people, when they come into the spiritual investor or listen to this or anything, it's like, you're the teacher. The answers are within you. And hopefully some of this stuff allows you to uncover that. So, lots been going on in my life recently. I feel like in a way I'm kind of still recovering from the recent travel that I did. I was gone for 7 weeks, and a lot of it out of the country. And it's a coming down effect. And it's not even like of course there's the getting back into the gym, and right now I have a black eye and I have a split lip because I do Krav Maga training, which is like combat training. And I love it, but it's just the way that it works. And interestingly, the reason that I have the black eye and sort of the bruises and stuff is that I didn't duck in time. Like, my reaction time is a little bit slower right now. And I have a lot of emotions that I feel like are still stuck in my body, actually. Mainly in the joint areas, and I can tell. And so I'm just looking at all these things, and none of it's a problem, but it's the looking of it, it's the noticing it, and it is the then going, okay, well, this is guiding me into, like, I just signed up for a yoga teacher training. It's guiding me into an intensive yoga type of thing to release these emotions. And so that's what we're doing here. We are managing our energy to the best of our ability, given our circumstances. But kind of what I think trips us up is that we sort of hang our hat on, okay, I finished a yoga training, or I didn't, I did well in the session of my, Krav Maga. Well, those are all good, but those are kind of micro feelings. And I think that we can get wrapped up in building our life around micro feelings. And really, that's not what we want, though. That's not what we came here. We came here to do like that big thing that you have in your mind, that guiding light, that, if you had 3 more minutes left on earth to be alive and someone handed you a microphone and you stood at the top of a building, what would you say? Like, that's what you're here to do. But we sort of run around like little ants all day, doing all this other stuff. And so then it becomes, how do you create the life that you want, yet not fall behind or not be able to deal with, or even thrive in the life that you have now to a certain degree. Interestingly, most of us are maintaining the life that we have now more so than we are creating from it. And so with the spiritual investor, it's all about pulling the energy down from the universal world and then taking it across the bridge, and putting it into 3D in the form of action items. And these action items, because they carry the energy of the universal world, become effortless. And so we're always standing on the bridge. So one of the ways that we do this is we have to be in where we are now, and we have to be in where we are now, not from a place of judgment, which means we actually have to be in where we are now but be new. And that can be challenging because when we're new, there's a bit of a blank slate and there's no fixing going on and there's no doing. And then it feels like, well, am I even wasting my time? Right. And that's what Eckhart Tolle talks about. We don't prioritize the moment. We don't prioritize the now because we have been taught otherwise. But, if we really look at it, everything powerful comes through the now because only things can come through the now. Even when you're recreating the past, it's still happening in the now. So, what I want to talk about today is that we look at our lives in terms of circumstances and cost and risk and achievement and all of that. Well, we have to break our relationship to a certain degree with all of that in order to even allow anything in new. One of the ways that we can do that is if we begin to see that the things that are costing us the most are actually the things that we can't see. And so if we look at investing, for example, many people think investing is risky, or I don't have enough money to invest, or I don't know enough to invest, or it's not the time, someday, right? And I think to a fundamental degree, you can understand like the element of waiting in that, which is there's lack energy in that, right? But if we take it even one step beyond that, and we just go, okay, let's just be in what is. Let's just take one thing out there that is just economy wise, I'll say inflation. So inflation is just basically like things are more expensive in the future, right? And you could also say that inflation is the money that you have erodes to a certain degree, right? You could buy a Coke for a nickel. Our great grandfathers could buy a Coke for a nickel. Now it costs what? Like, I don't even know how to buy Cokes, like $3 or something. So I want you to hear this though, not from a place of fear. I want you to actually come into the now as new. And I want you to hear this from a place of power, because the new you, which is the source you, is always in power, right? Power meaning not needing to control, not external power, but power meaning, okay, I'm going to allow this information to go fully through me without this icky emotional feeling of judgment. And when I do hear that, I'm going to notice it. There's nothing wrong with it, but you're going to notice it. You're not going to react to it. So you're still operating as source when you're noticing it, by the way, because what's happening is you're always returning to source, returning. And that's what you came here to do. You came here to play the game, you know? So inflation, let's just say inflation is at 3%, which, depending on if you're talking about the inflation by the month or you're talking about inflation, on an annual basis, it's somewhere around that now. So $50,000 right now at an inflation rate of 3% for the next decade, you will need to have 67,000 in order to equate to the purchasing power of 50,000 that you have right now today, right? So that's information in the future, but we are bringing that back into the now as our power so that we can utilize that. Now, the inflation rate is 6%, because we don't know what inflation is going to be, right? The inflation rate at 6%, that 50K would need to be $89,000. Okay, so again, check yourself. This is just information. So you have to ask yourself, is your income going to go up by 34% in the next decade to cover the 3% inflation? Maybe. Hopefully it'll go up more than that. But is it? That's just something that you get to look at. Is your income going to go up 78% to accommodate that 89K? Is that the case? Now, you're choosing to not use investing. You're choosing, if you're just looking at your income, that you're going to cover that. You're saying yes. You're raising your hand saying, yes, I am in the classroom right now of life and money, and I agree. I will cover that anywhere from 34% to 78% increase. I got it. No problem. Okay, so take that on. Well, if you look at investing, the market has gone up 225% over the last decade. That's on an average yearly basis, that's 12.8%. So, if you've been in the market the last 10 years, because inflation was also exceedingly low for the last 10 years, other than a blip around the pandemic, um, you've kept a lot of that. And now that you have kept, that has gone up 225% minus inflation, is now there working for you to grow. So it is just like a fire that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you are strategically adding stocks on top. Now check yourself again. What if you're like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, da da da. Well, 10 years ago, let's say you didn't, 10 years ago, you would have wanted this conversation. If you could choose anything right now, you would choose to be fully open to this conversation 10 years ago. So, what is different now? What's different now is these things that come up in your mind that are justifying where you are now, where you're not, where the market could be, all of these things, the time you have, the age you are, how many kids you have. It's all of it, all of these things. But you had different reasons back then, but they felt just as compelling and just as important. And then what will happen is, if you're not showing up as new and also making decisions as new, because we know you're looking at this from the new version of you now, but then are you going to go across the bridge? If you're not, then what will happen is you'll be 80 years old and you'll be going, oh my God, I wish I had listened to that conversation. So, no wrong or right here. This is provided for you. This is a gift for you. And I'm inviting you to step into something. Now, how do you go from this belief system that you have, which was given to you, it was given to you by other people, it was given to you by your own experiences, all of it. It's like this conglomerate that you have that has caused you to be exactly where you are now. Because wherever you are on your frequency with money, the money that's coming into you is matching it. And it's not linear, by the way, because you go through different things in your life and you're going to be in different places in your frequency. Wealth is not linear. You might be on the downside of it right now. You might be struggling a bit, or you might be not making as much. That has zero to do with how big the upside is for you until you say it does. It is a function of what you agree to. Everything in life is a function of what you agree to, because you are setting your capacity based on how open you are. It's no different. You have tried to love someone and they haven't been able to receive love because they don't have the capacity. And you actually have a similar capacity to them, and you can't receive love either, and they're trying to give it to you their way and you're trying to give it to them your way, and you have these capacities and you're butting up against each other. Now you see that sometimes that can improve and get better, and that's part of your personal growth and your expansion into greater consciousness. Why can't you do the same thing with money? Why is it that you have to continue to hold that locked in frequency with money? Why? You think it keeps you safe? No. Do you think it keeps you safe if you keep butting heads in a relationship? No. It takes your life away. It's life draining to be arguing all the time in a relationship. Well, that's what you're doing with money. You're arguing all the time because you are locked up on whatever you're doing now and whatever your beliefs are. That's why inside of the Spiritual Investor, we do something called breaking the structure. Until you break the structure, there's no space for it to get in, and you're in an argument with money. It's just that it has a different language. It's a silence when it comes to our English language or whatever language you speak, but it is not actually silent. It is controlling you, no different than a narcissistic relationship is controlling you. But you're not in what is with it, because if you were, you would be looking at yourself a bit more than you are. And when you look at yourself and you really, really see that it is you, you can't help but take responsibility for it. So, how do you do this? I'm going to give you, there are so many ways. You've heard me talk about um, what I'm doing here. My job is to manage my energy, is to manage my energy so that I can show up here. Because that's what I'm here to do in the world, is I'm here to make uh, conscious people. I'm here to transfer wealth into the hands of people who are conscious, or you could say I'm here to help conscious people become wealthy. Either way. Um, so one of the ways that I do manage my energy is I do something that I call managing my dependencies. So the way that I get myself out of operating in the 3D world, which is all the how to and the steps and the I got to check this off a list and da da da, which I don't like that stuff. It's not sustainable. And even if I can do it for a week, I hate it and my life is miserable and I would rather be happy in life. So I'm always looking for something where I can get things done at an even higher level, at an accelerated rate, and have it be a function of who I am. Um, the way that I do that is I create my world instead of trying to get something. When I am checking something off of a list, and let's say that I was supposed to make a phone call that I've been putting off, well, I do that, and then I'm like, okay, well, I got that done. And then I do something else. I've got that done. I've got that done. I got that done. Some people can really relate to, they feel really good when they've gotten things done. It doesn't work as well for me. If it does for you, great. But for me, it just kind of still feels empty. I think it's a lot like when people say, well, I don't really care about money. Well, there's an illusion in that because money is abundance and you do care about abundance. But I get to a certain degree what people are saying that, like, you're not motivated by the money. What you're motivated is by the feeling and the freedom that you have on the other side of it. So if you were to equate this to what I call managing dependencies, then what I'm looking at is by getting this thing done on the list, making that phone call, what I am creating is the freedom on the other side of that. And that is what I'm in a relationship with, and that's what I'm craving. Now, in order to do this, I have to switch into a new way of being, because the new way of being, there's no certainty there. There's no there I'm not associated with the result of it being done. So it's not in the 3D. I have to literally connect my energy to something that could look one way or could look the other way. Now, is that association strong enough for me to complete 5 of those things? Maybe, maybe not. But the moment I take it back into the judgment of it and the measurement of it and the management of it, then it goes away. Instead, I would because I can only see myself when I'm looking at myself in reverse. I can only see my old self when I'm looking at myself in reverse. Otherwise, I'm being my old self and I can't tell the difference. So I can look back and I can notice, wow, I only got one of those things done. Would it be better if I did it like an hour earlier? Would it be better if I did, did I need to eat some food? Was I tired from going to the gym? There are all of these things. You are your greatest teacher. It's just you're so busy looking to the outside world for this. Now, the outside world is the teacher for you because it's a reflection back to you. So even this podcast, you are in resonance with this podcast. I get so many messages from you that this information is like in your head. It's like, I'm in your head. This is what you needed to hear, blah, blah, blah. That's not me. That's you calling this in, and you're calling this in through me. So it's important that you take whatever you get from this and then you customize it into you to the point that it actually starts to feel like you. Now, this has been something that's been really powerful in my life because what it is a bypassing. It's also bypassing my conditioning of I don't like lists. I have an amazing team, and one of the reasons that I do even things like this, publishing this podcast, is because of my team. And so I take responsibility to being even more open to money because I am supporting 5 people plus some part times, right? That's not even including the new personal assistant I just hired. Um, and that's totally fine. And I have a house cleaner, and I have someone who's coming to clean out my dad's shop, and I have a personal trainer, and I go and live in Costa Rica for a month. Like, all this stuff is totally fine and wonderful. I love it. I wouldn't change anything. But I'm not ignoring my responsibility here either, right? And so I'm managing my energy to the responsibility of that, which rolls up to the responsibility to you and to the world, and to expand this into the world. What's happening is my responsibilities are a function of my standards. And so what's happening is, as I expand into greater consciousness, my standards get higher. I am now doing things that are really, this is just one new thing. I'm constantly pulling new things to do. But my one new thing is, I am now, at night, I am very, very dialed down at night. I rarely actually talk on the phone at night anymore, even to the point that sometimes I won't even respond to text messages at night, because, like, I am just doing something that is bringing my energy down, 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 down. I'm also, as a function of that, I am going to bed really early. And now I am finally back to sleeping through the night, and I'm getting that 8 hours, and I'm waking up naturally early in the morning, that's my optimum time. Like 4:30 in the morning, get up and I create. It's dark. I light candles. I play music, I either play music through Spotify or I play the piano. Something happens there, right? Um, and my managing my energy to that uh, becomes my job, because I don't have to make what I create my job. I have to make me creating this space is my job. And if I made what I was creating my job, it actually would be coming from my ego. Like, just before I sat down for this, the thing that I was thinking, I was walking around my dad's shop, and I was like looking at all the stuff, and I was thinking about, what the guy's going to do when he comes to organize. And then I let it go, and I was like, okay, I'm getting ready to go record a podcast. Blank, 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 empty, empty, empty. Like, I literally watched my footsteps in the grass coming back up to sit here with you. Like, it's empty. So once you start to see yourself as who you truly are, then your standards will match that. And then what will happen is the world will start to reflect it back to you. So I travel quite a bit now on and I go and get interviewed on big podcasts. I meet incredible people, powerful people. I mean, it has blown my mind just this week who I have met and been connected to. The clarity that I have has also blown my mind this week, with just, it's like all the worlds are coming together in parallel. And I think a lot of it is that, I went through my own breaking the structure, with my trip to Costa Rica. A lot happened in Costa Rica. So we're coming into our own, and we don't have to love every stage, but when we are connected to every stage from a place of, this is what is, then what we can do is we can start to pick out the beautiful, magical things in every single phase, every single stage, every single situation. Once we do that, we're able to create that space, that ahead of time, which I'm calling a dependency, right? We can create that space, and then we suddenly realize that our life is actually completely ours. And once we realize that, we don't feel controlled anymore. And it doesn't matter what's happening out in the world. We can watch it, and we can participate in it even, and we can be powerful when we show up. And the reason that we're powerful is because it doesn't hold us. All right. So much love to you. I'll see you on the next episode.